right, so what are the 4 reasons why we started business? Okay, independence is one of them. It's not necessarily the first, but independence, I think. Money, right? Money. And then we have fulfillment and contribution. Pretty much every other reason you want to start a business will be divided into one of those. So those 4 are communicating it very, very clearly. Okay? Now, for many people, I mentioned that before, many people, when you ask them what's your order of priority, if you need to choose, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Some other people, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually this is the order. Okay? This is how people put in the priorities. What we found out from experience, not because we knew that, but from experience, and now we're testing it on every single business that we know, it always works the same. Money is not important. It's not the right word. Money is very important. It's not that money is not important. Money is not the purpose. Let's put it this way. Money is never the purpose of a business. Shouldn't be. There's 95% of the businesses in the world, money is the purpose. But it shouldn't be. It should be the result, not the purpose. It should be a consequence. And it will be if you do it right. If you do what I'm going to share with you right now, which will kind of probably will reorganize your brain cells a little bit different. But if you will do the way that we're doing it, you will see that money is not a purpose, money is a consequence, just a consequence. And then life becomes so much easier. The way that we believe is that the order is a little bit different. We always start with contribution. That's where it starts. How do we make this world a better world? What is it that we have to give to the world? How can we make a difference? And again, the world doesn't have to be the whole world. It can be, in your city. It can be in your neighborhood. It can be in your, limited amount of clients. It doesn't matter. But how do you contribute to them? And what we found out, and I'm sure that you found that in your life also, it's not going to be a rocket science. It's not going to be something new for you. But when you're contributing, when you're giving to somebody else, how do you feel about yourself? How many of you feel good when you contribute in any way, shape, or form? All right, so that's all the hands, right? Almost all the hands in the room. So then fulfillment is kind of not a big deal. When you're contributing, this is a result. When you're contributing, when you're doing something good to other people, you usually feel fulfilled. How many of you today, after the VIP session, when you were just working your ass off in contribution, how many of you felt really good about yourself, although you were tired? Okay? Although you were pretty tired, right? So that takes care of itself. You don't have to work on that. Okay? We start from contribution. This takes care of itself. You don't have to work so hard for that. Now, we in Holland are so important about our freedom and independence. But tell me something. When you contribute and you're feeling good about yourself, how free do you feel usually? I mean, for me, the best example is Nelson Mandela. Okay? Nelson Mandela was locked in a tiny cell of 3 meters by 3 meters for what? 20-something years, right? Can't remember right now. Okay? But a long time. But he was one of the freest people in the world when you read what he wrote, when you hear how he spoke. Why? Because he didn't confine himself. He wasn't concerned so much with the physical 3 by 3 meters cell, because he was here. And you will feel that when you're really fulfilled, you don't need to take care of that. This is a reaction. I told you yesterday, this is the childish reaction against being in a business or being under a boss. Oh, I don't want a boss anymore because I don't want anybody to tell me anything. But why is that so important? When you're fulfilled, what do you care? What do you care? You're doing what you feel good for you, what makes you happy, where you're following your passion. This is not an issue. It's been taken care of itself. It sounds a little bit strange, but when you start experiencing it, this is not an issue. I saw some of you, not some of you, I think 2 people wrote on Facebook yesterday something like, well, I started a business having high hopes, but I found out that I'm in jail, or something like that. It wasn't those words, but like I found that this has actually made me a lot more constrained and constricted than I was in my job even. And that's true, because now you need to survive, and you're not serving one boss, you're serving a lot of bosses, right? Suddenly you have all those clients that they are your boss in a way. But that's not happening when you're feeling this. It's not happening, guys. I don't like getting up in the morning early, and today I had to get up early in the morning. I didn't feel constricted. Oh, I don't have the freedom. I have to go to. I was waiting for the chance to give a BIF game for one more time. I was just, yes, I have people that actually will run around. Okay, so just try to understand this is not an issue. This is always an issue as a reaction for what you felt before was a jail. When that doesn't exist, it's not important anymore. Okay? And what we found out is that this is a consequence. The more you contribute, the more you feel fulfilled. This is not an issue, the more money you make. Point. I want you to write it as a sentence. The more you contribute, the more money you make. This is rule. It's a rule of the universe. I didn't invent that, okay? It's like gravity. It exists. We just turned it around somewhere, and we forgot about that. And it very much makes sense, because what is your contribution as an entrepreneur? What do you do? What's your job? There's only one job that all of us are doing as entrepreneurs. Only one job. Well, I don't know. I'm a healer. I'm a graphic designer. What do? We are all solving problems. We're getting paid to solve somebody else's problem. No matter what the problem is. I have a back pain, then somebody needs to solve it for me. When he solves me, I'm paying for that, right? Maybe you're giving a graphic design for something, he has a problem, now you solve it by giving the graphic design. If you're if somebody is overweight and you're a personal trainer and you help them lose weight, you solve the problem. Even Disneyland solves problem, okay? Disneyland solves problem. Everybody thinks it's a happy place, the happiest place in the world. What Disneyland does? What problems does it solve? To whom does it solve it, by the way? To the parents. There's a vacation time, the kids go on their nerves. They take them to Disneyland, and Disneyland take care of it. Okay, I'm serious, guys, I'm serious. Okay, I could go on and on. It's not the right material for this. In the Master Entrepreneur, we'll show you how SMS, the SMS, is one of the biggest problem solvers ever, and that's why SMS is so popular. And why Facebook works so well, because it solves a major problem, such a painful problem that nothing else solves like Facebook. When you understand that, you realize that each and every one of you solves problem, and you get paid for that, which means that there's contribution, right? Solving problem is a contribution. Do you understand that? You take somebody's pain away. Is that a good thing? A little hint, yes, it is a good thing. Guys, are you with me? When you solve somebody's problem in any way, shape, or form, you make the world a little better. Right? Yes. Good. They pay you for that, right? Yes. Which means the more problems you solve to more people, what happens in your bank account? Is happier. For all those of you that have a problem with money, if your bank account is small, it means that you don't help enough people. It means that you don't contribute enough. You want more money? Contribute more. Help more people. Solve more problems. Bigger problems. If you will find a cure for cancer tomorrow, you will get paid a lot. Would you agree? Because you're solving a big problem to a lot of people. If you will find a solution tomorrow to world wars or world hunger or I don't know, whatever it is, you will get paid handsomely. Why? Because you solve a big problem. And if you don't know how to solve a big problem, then solve a small problem for a lot of people. Which that's what we talked yesterday, with all the argument about, being small and content. You shouldn't be content. You should be helping more people as much as you can. And the more you help, as a consequence, you cannot do anything about it. Because if you're charging X amount for solving a problem, solve 2 problems, you get paid twice. Solve 3 problems, or for 3 people, you're being paid 3 times. When I can help 1,500 people, I will get paid better than if I help, 20 people. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. Are you with me? All right. So this is something I was teaching for years. Start in the right place, start in the contribution, and this will be a consequence. Until one day, in one of the advanced trainings, a student came to me and she said, "You forgot a line." And I said, "I don't think so." And she said, "Yeah, you forgot a line." I said, "I'm working on that for years. I'm developing it. It's a good concept." And she says, "It's missing something." I said, "What does it miss?" And she says, "It misses this arrow. When you make a lot of money, you can start giving that money away to other causes. Because here, you're not giving anything as money. You're giving yourself. You're giving your time. You're giving your effort, your knowledge, your expertise, your love, your passion, everything else, right? This is what you give here in the contribution. But when you make a lot of money, now there is some excess that you can give away to some causes that are important for you. Does that make sense? Make sense? It's not about giving back, guys. People are making the mistakes. Oh, I need to give back. Now I'm successful. I make a lot of money. I need to give back to society or the community or to the world. You don't need to give back anything. Giving back comes from guilt. I felt like for many years, I said I'm giving back because I make more money than in a weekend than my parents made all their lives. And that doesn't feel right. My sisters got the same education as me, got the same mindset, grew up in the same family, and they both are struggling to pay the mortgage, and they're working in 2 or 3 jobs to kind of to make ends meet. And I feel guilty for making so much money. So I need to give something back. It took me time to realize that it comes from guilt. I don't need to give anything back. I worked hard for my money. I solved a lot of problems for a lot of people for my money. But now I have extra. And this is an interesting concept that at one point it just came to me. I don't know when, I don't know how. I want to share it with you. Some of you saw that, but if you didn't see that, I think it's very, very valuable to see. This is just for making sure that the room stays clean. It's not what I want you to see. This is what I wanted to see, okay? Every one of us have a glass, okay? Everyone, our life is a glass. And all of us, our glass is half full and half empty, all of us. Now, let's talk just now for a moment about finances, about money, about, how... No, we don't need to talk about others. You can talk about health, happiness, relationships, anything, but right now we're talking about finances, if you want, or money. So this is our class, and all of you, each and every one of you in the room has your glass financially half full, half empty, right? Yes? Yes. How do I know? Because you're here. Because you're here. Because if your glass was totally full, would you sit here? No, you will be on your private island in the Caribbean and, having fun sipping margarita. Why do you have to be here? Okay? But you all have half full. Because if you wouldn't have half full, if it was totally empty, would you have the 47 years to afford this? Would you be even interested in something like that? You were so busy surviving, finding where can I find food. Okay, so you all have half full, half empty. And your glass might be in different sizes. It doesn't matter. What we're trying to teach you in the Business Bootcamp, in the advanced training, especially, by the way, the Master Entrepreneur, we're teaching you how to do this. How to start filling up your glass. And it can take slowly, or it can take more time, or shorter time. It depends. It also depends how big is your glass. Because your glass can be small, and then it's faster to fill it up, right? It's not so, it doesn't take too long. If you have a bucket, it will take longer, and that's okay. Whatever you choose to have your glass of life, it's okay, as long as you keep on filling it up. And if you will continue studying with us, I promise you, that's a guarantee. You can see people around in the posters, you can talk to people that did with us trainings, you will make more money. There's no other way. You can't. If you implement something, you will. And at one point, your glass will get to this point. Now, you have choices there. You can either stop doing what you're doing and keep it this way. You can decide to put a bigger glass or a bigger cup or a bucket so you have something again to fill up. Or you can do what most people do, and they just keep on going because they love what they're doing. Okay, how many of you, I cannot raise my hand, so you do that for me, okay? How many of you love what you're doing? You're passionate about what you're doing. How many of you, if you wouldn't need the money, you will still keep on doing it? Can I see a show of hands? Look around, guys, look around. This is important, okay? Because you ask that, yeah, now people lower their hand. But if you will ask that out there in the world, just go to the street and just collect 100 people or 1,000 people in a room and ask them, how many of you, if you will have enough money to live, how many of you will keep on working in what you're doing? You will have 90% of the hands not coming up. Okay, here in the room, 90% of the hands stayed up, which means that you're doing it because you love it, because you enjoy that, because it contributes to others, not because of the money. Well, the money is one of it, but if you make enough money or have enough money, you don't need it, you still do that. So most people will keep on doing that. Now, what happens now is, what happens to the water? They're overflowing, right? You see that it's overflow? Now, this is what we call financially free. You're financially free when you have enough passive income that covers your lifestyle. This is your lifestyle right now, and it keeps on coming. You decide to work, great. You decide not to work, it keeps on coming. But when you do decide to keep on working, to keep on doing that, there is something that is overflowing, and it goes where? Guys, it goes where? Don't let me stand here for an hour with that. Where does it go? Somewhere else. Somewhere else. And that somewhere else can be anything you want it to be. Okay, this somewhere else can be any cause, anything that is important for you, anything that touches your heart. We want to change the education system in the world. So anything that we have extra, anything that we don't really need, either for now or for the future as an investment or savings, we're giving away to make a difference in the education world. And it's just the beginning, because we're just in the start of it. But at one point, it needs to get a lot more than that.